This
Yes.
is
And Chrissy.
are they going now? Is it
Uh-huh.
going? Hi Patty. Hi Chrissy. Um,
Okay, so this morning we watched or observed the math lesson on algebra tiles. So let's hear some of your original reflections.
okay. Right away, I was looking at the board. I noticed that my goal was to be able to have the kids be able to formulate an algebraic equation with algebra tiles. My first thought after watching the video was, well, we didn't really get to that till the very end, and maybe the goal should have been to experience and become familiar with algebra tiles, because most of the lesson was that. Another thing I noticed was, well, of course, it's hard to watch yourself, but things were kind of boring, kind of like it felt like Ben Stein for me a little bit. So I wrote down some negatives and some positives. So I thought I want to be positive also. I would like to have more of a presence. So, because I kind of think like when I complain about my kids not being engaged, maybe it's because I'm not that engaging, maybe. And find ways to talk less, or at least explain things quicker so that the students have more of a chance to actually work. The things I liked was that everything I had everything prepared and on the board. I had the manipulatives ready. I gave students plenty of time to discuss stuff. I tried to use wait time when answering questions. The kids were actually pretty eager to get to work when I did let them get started. Um, we did not, like I said before, we did not get to the algebra expressions until after Ms. Butler already left. So that wasn't demonstrated in the video. And I didn't really have like a closure activity today. I meant to have them come up with like three of their own algebraic expressions or equations, and then get together with another group and then subtract or add, combine them. So I didn't quite get to that. So is there anything else?
Um, so, when looking at this lesson, how do you feel it was best for all students? How did it meet all of the needs of your students?
Well, I think it met the needs of. I had all the. So obviously, I've the kids that are used to the auditory style of learning. They were engaged and listening. I had the stuff written on the board and some pictures and diagrams drawn for the visual learners. I had the manipulatives with the algebra tiles for the hands-on learners. Um, I know there's more than three, but so the so I think I met a lot of the kids' needs. I had them working together, so they had that interpersonal or extra extra personal extra personal.
There's inter or intra.
Yeah. So they had the inter. They didn't have as much as the intra because they weren't really working by themselves at any point. I had a lot of kids ask questions at the end, which is kind of surprising because usually that doesn't happen as much. Maybe it was the extra time I took to prepare the lesson this morning. Like sometimes that doesn't always happen. Um, I wished I could. I don't know. I wished I could look more, or maybe I don't know if I could be all places at once, but wish things were not quite as boring.
So, if you could pick one part of that lesson to make more engaging, what part? Can you kind of pick one and maybe we can
Maybe
walk
if
through
I,
that?
well, maybe I was thinking maybe it's like for the instruction part, if I just had a video of like myself doing it, or like another video of someone else um, demonstrating it that they could watch, maybe it would take less time and the kids would be more interested in watching it. Something different than just me.
Okay. What about another part of it?
To make more engaging.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so the side lengths were X. You know, maybe I would let them come up with their own variable, or maybe a little more student exploration. Like, okay, and then later on they would see that it was an X, but maybe they'd want to make up their own variable, like an S or a. I thought I did pretty good at like letting them come to conclusions themselves without telling them. There's a few kids that had the wrong answer on some of the warm up activities, and then I don't know if I just kind of avoided it. But I moved to the
Are you
next.
talking about like with finding the area?
Yeah, I bumped around a little bit, but finding the area, like they didn't. The first person that was trying to find the area of the triangle, they didn't divide it by 2. They were missing that component of dividing by 2, and that's something I thought we already had. So
But so what happened? What happened when the student was wrong? What did you do?
I said thanks for your. I said asked if there's any clarifying questions. No one came up with anything, and I didn't want to make her feel bad up there by herself. So I said, well, thanks for your ideas. And did anyone do it differently? Did you hear anything else or? So, but I didn't really. I told her we would revisit it later.
Mm-hmm. And so you were just saying that you did a good job of not correcting them yourself, and then because then you let a student come up and explain, and I watched the girl and she understood what she did wrong.
She did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was hard to tell because I couldn't tell. I kind of glanced over and I couldn't tell if she was giving me a dirty look or like you just threw me under the bus, Lindsay. But that's good to know that she wasn't, because usually doesn't. I just.
Okay, so on that sort of a topic, then, during this lesson, what kind of data were you collecting to understand whether you were meeting your goal or not? And you can use the goal that you originally set, or you can use the one that you would now use, getting them to be familiar. But what's the data you're using to understand whether students are learning?
I guess that's probably another area I could work on is learning how to collect data or make it more of a focus. But I think what I was doing was, as they were exploring with the algebra tiles, I was walking around and kind of asking clarifying questions, and I was with the relation to the sides, and I was asking, well, how did you get that? And then I asked a few of the kids, I don't know if you noticed, but that seemed to be getting the right point. I asked if they wouldn't mind sharing that if I called on them. So I was trying to, because it seemed like they got it, so I wanted to pick someone that would come up and have the right answer, so I didn't put someone on the spot. I was listening for conversations, like whether or not they were talking about the birthday party last night or the task. I also, I don't know if it's data, but I like when Che described the model, trying to make the relationship. He tried to explore further and go more in depth. I tried to show him because I wanted to encourage the more in-depth thought to hopefully other students would think about, hey, it doesn't just stop at the math lesson. We're not done. Like to encourage going beyond.
So that has more to do with the classroom environment.
Okay.
Right. That's.
So data, I didn't. I had them share what they did at the document camera. I didn't collect their assignment, so I didn't give them a score on it. Is there anything that you think I'm missing, maybe?
I don't know. It's gonna.
I had them do a raise a hand if they think like a formative assessment, maybe informal.
Mm-hmm. So if you changed your goal to be that students are going to understand or familiarize algebra tiles, I know that in the recording it didn't show they were identifying the shapes as x or y or x squared or a unit of 1, those types of things. So tomorrow when you continue this lesson and you're going to go back to the original goal of being able to formulate algebraic equations with algebra tiles.
Yes.
What data are you going to collect at the end of the class period or during the class period so that you know which students are understanding this or reaching
Okay.
that goal?
So, like Lisa was saying, we thought that my goal today, or I thought that it should probably be in tomorrow, and so I thought about having a bunch of different, combining where you have algebra tiles and you're combining the two together, and then somewhere you have a set and then you're removing them to show those relationships between x squared, x, and the units. And so I thought, well, as a closure tomorrow, I could actually write the different algebraic expressions down, and I could have some of the kids build me the tiles in front of me, or I could have them. I could draw a picture and then have them write the algebraic expression, kind of like an exit ticket.
Okay. And in closing here, any final thoughts about observing yourself and having the reflective conversation?
It's interesting. It's neat to see it blows my. It always. Last two times it's like I see myself and I see like all the things I want to change. It comes flooding to me like a faucet turning opening, and then also just seeing the kids what they're doing at their desk, and I think most of them were quiet, but I think most of them, a lot of them are listening, but then some of them are digging in their bag, and so I don't know if you could have 100% all the time focus, but maybe there's ways that I could practice what I'm going to say, so it's not so I don't have to really think about what I'm saying as I'm saying it to be more engaging. I know like at home it's hard to compete with their video games, the TV, everything's quick. So if there's a way I could be quicker, that's the first thing I really noticed.
And so, just to be clear, if you're quicker, you think what will happen?
Well, there's two things that could happen because sometimes I feel quicker, and then everyone kind of